And that could have been some of the most difficult years of our lives. Hi there. The last week of April is normally the week for infertility awareness. And I really wanted to make a video about this. The title of this video is The Story of Benjamin. And it's a little weird that I'm gonna be speaking in a minute about my son during the Infertility Awareness Week. But before we had our son, we faced 2 years of infertility. And that could have been some of the most difficult years of our lives as a couple. So today, I've come to you with a message of hope, hopefully to give you some motivation and encouragement. As of today, the CDC, which is the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in the United States, says that 12% of women from the age of 15 to the age of 44 are facing infertility, meaning they can't get pregnant or they cannot sustain pregnancy. 12%. That's a lot. When we were facing infertility, we didn't know a lot of couples that were going through the same thing. And that was a very lonely path for us. It was lonely because we couldn't talk about this with other people. I mean, we could, but they would not understand. And they would react in very different ways. As a couple, when you're facing infertility and you try to talk openly about it, people are either trying to fix it and they will give you from advice on what to do, or they will give you, the advice to relax. Meaning that, it's not a big deal, so they will not validate your feelings. Or seriously, they will just change the topic. And I found that they would change the topic because it was uncomfortable for them, because they just didn't know what to do with that topic. So facing an infertility journey can be really hard, but not only hard, but lonely. And it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be this way. 12% of women in the United States are facing infertility, and we cannot be talking openly about it. Now we can, but still, a year and a half after we got married, we decided that we wanted to start our family. So we were trying to conceive. When you want to get pregnant as a woman, you just want it now. You don't want it in 3 months, you don't want it in 6 months, you just want to get pregnant right away. And when that doesn't happen, it's very frustrating, and then it's discouraging, and you sort of go through these stages of grief at the same time. You try to bargain, all sort of stages. So about a year and a half after we started to try to conceive, we were looking for fertility specialists. We were having lots of tests done, and we finally got a fertility specialist on board, and we went through the whole fertility tests, and we found several things that might have been causing us not to be pregnant at the time. And so we tried to solve it, and we actually went through an IUI, which didn't work. But at the same time, my body was still with a lot of medication, and the doctor said that I could get pregnant during those months before the second IUI, which is what happened. So I basically got pregnant 4 months after the first IUI, which is amazing and great for a couple with infertility, because it doesn't happen like that all the time. Now I'm gonna be speaking from our experience as a couple with infertility, and now as a couple with a child facing secondary infertility. Every case is different, and we just need to respect every couple for what they're going through, validating their feelings. So we got pregnant, and it was a normal pregnancy, even though I had to go through an ultrasound every single week and tons of tests that my other friends that were pregnant were not going through, which was fine. I just wanted to do whatever was best for the baby and for me. And I actually got to see the baby a lot. But when I was 18 weeks pregnant, I got appendicitis, and I actually had to have surgery. And at that time, it was impossible in my head to think that I was going to have surgery and I was pregnant and not losing my baby. Now my husband was on a trip back then, and I went through the surgery and everything went well. And then at 34 weeks and 4 days, I had to have an emergency C-section because the placenta was starting to be detached, and my water broke. I was bleeding profusely, and I had to be taken to the hospital right away and then have an emergency C-section as soon as all the doctors got there. Now my baby was born premature, and that was also really hard. And he actually had a pneumothorax, which is like he had difficulty breathing, which is normal for premature, and he had all the treatments that he needed at the time. But 2 days after he was born, he actually had one of his lungs collapsed and was pierced. So he had a little straw from his lung towards a little bag that would just collect all the liquid, and he started to be really, really sick. He didn't have anything to eat. I mean, he was being hydrated and everything through an IV, but no, of course, no breast milk or no special food through the nose or anything for 5 days. And that was terrifying because first, we didn't have kids, and it took us very long for us. Okay, I know there are couples that suffered for 5 years, 10 years of infertility. For us, there were 2, and they were long. And so after these 2 years, we were able to get pregnant. And after 18 weeks, I almost died with my baby because I got appendicitis, and it was an emergency surgery as well. And then I was okay, but then again, I almost died with my baby again because he was born prematurely and really bad, and I was basically bleeding so much, and all this makes you think, like, and wonder, really, like, I went through all that suffering of infertility and everything just to be pregnant and then have my baby and then lose my baby? We didn't. Benjamin is now 2 years old and he's doing great. But we went through all that as a couple that faced infertility. And now looking back, I can see that it's very different to have a baby after facing infertility than to have a baby when you don't have infertility in the first place. Because there's a lot of fear and there's a lot of anxiety and other feelings that come along because of it. I don't know if any of this is making sense for anybody, but what I want to say is there might be couples around you that are facing infertility and you don't know. Or there might be couples around you that have kids and faced infertility with their kids, before their kids, and you don't know. But we should know. We should be open about this and talk about this. And my message today for the couples with infertility is to keep trying. To keep trying. And here's why. Shouldn't we have tried so much to get pregnant, to continue with the pregnancy, and to do our best after our baby was born with those difficulties, and then some other things that come along when you're premature and have 10 days in the NICU and stuff? He would not have been here. Benjamin would not exist. For me, that's like mind-blowing. Like, if we have not pursued so much, going to the doctors and going to the appointments and going through the shots and the medication and the surgeries and everything else, my son would not have been here today. And I cannot imagine a world without him. Just as I couldn't imagine a world without being a mom when I didn't have him. So what I want to say is keep trying, because I know it's different for everybody, but there is hope. there was hope for us. And it wasn't easy. And again, it's not easy. It's not the same for everybody. But keep trying. Keep trying, because another person may be able to exist because of you pursuing that. Thanks for watching.